Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Professor Saturnian, and this is my books that I've read in 2023 video. My reading goal this year was 60 books. I completed that challenge by reading 61 books, right under the line. Mostly read nonfiction. 49 books of the 61 were nonfiction, 12 were fiction. Of the 49, I mostly read books under the subject of astrology, and the second most was astronomy and astrophysics. I did a top 10 astrology books I read in 2023. I put that in a separate video, and I'm not going to mention any of them in this video because it would just be a repeat of the top 10 astrology books. So I decided not to include any of those books I mentioned in that list. Instead, this is going to be its own list. My number 10 is going to be High Magic and I'm going to have the picture and the name and the information all here. I butcher names, I'm not going to try. I'll say the title, and then the cover author will be there. I know I should try, but I'm not going to make a fool of myself. Number 9 is going to be Madame Bovary. I picked that as my number 9 because it's truly, you could tell each word he chose was just perfectly put. If you told me the subject of the book, I'd have been like, oh, that's boring. I'm not really interested in reading that. But his diction, how he wrote, it made it such a great book that I'm glad. It was out of my ordinary taste, but it was definitely a treat to read. It was depressing too, but it was good. Like, this girl kept on getting herself in trouble trying to go for the next best thing in life and going for the material stuff. The fineries in life is just like, it's only gonna make it worse. Number 8, Saturn's Jews on the Witch's Sabbath and Sabbatianisms. I love this book. It's really cool, all the stuff that I found out about Saturn, how it relates to Judaism and the history of that. Jewish Kabbalists, Jewish Kabbalists, yeah, Kabbalah, Kabbalists, how Jewish Kabbalists and that, their history with astrology. Really cool book. Great academic read too. Has an amazing notes. It just keeps on going. The notes out, like 1/3 of the book I think is notes, which I love because it's just a wealth of new books to buy and read. So Saturn's Jews is my number 8. My number 7, I also own this book. A lot of these books on this list is going to be books I rented from the library, so I don't have them anymore. But my number 7 is How to Understand Your Bible, A Philosopher's Interpretation of Obscure and Puzzling Passages by Manly P. Hall. I love Manly P. Hall. He's one of my favorite authors, favorite philosophers, like, he brought spiritualism here in the United States, and not new age spiritualism, but like it's backed up by ancient texts, and like he backs himself up with books, and he has one of like the biggest occult collections and library that you can visit in LA. There is so much astrology in this book, and he uses the seven ways to interpret any ancient text. 1, numerology. 2, sacred geometry. 3, astrology. 4, astronomy. 5, anatomy. 7, architecture. No, wait, what? Can I count? I have 6 up. So let me try that again. I never can remember the 7th one. That's where I always get tripped up. It talks about the puzzling passages, the passages in the Bible that are just like, well, no one really knows, like especially the book of Revelations. He has a whole section on that. I kind of wish he went a little bit more into that one, just because I know it's supposed to be based off of Osiris's Day of Judgment. I'll make a video about the Book of Revelations and what it means astrologically and astronomically, and it's a spiritual journey for the individual when everything is going to the pooper. How to spiritually rise above that when everything materialistically wise crumbles. So it's like a spiritual journey for the individual and also an astrological, astronomical document based in really surrealist allegories. My number 6 is going to be The Chicken Kabbalah of Rabbi Leonard Ben Clifford. This book is hilarious, and it's such a great introduction to Kabbalah. I wish I would have taken people's advice and just grabbed this book first. It's hilarious, it's well done, it made me laugh, and a lot of books don't make me laugh. But this one is amazing. Highly recommend. It's my number 6. My number 5 is Saturn, A New Look at Old Devil. And I know how to say this name, Liz Green. She's very popular in astrology and modern astrology, especially for the psychology astrology peeps. It's a great book about Saturn. She looks at multiple ways of looking at Saturn, and she doesn't just give him a grim view of the planet. And I might reread the book again because I got a greater understanding of Saturn while reading it. So anybody that really doesn't understand Saturn or want a greater understanding of the planet, I highly recommend Saturn, A New Look at an Old Devil. My number 5 is Saturn Rising. And this book got me kind of back into, I don't know, it just got me excited learning about the planet. Anything that gets me excited about learning Saturn, it's up there in my list. I love reading about the planet. The planet excites me and it intrigues me. I think it's the most complicated planet there is, since it's full of polarity, and it's looks like a black and white type of planet, but it's gray, but yet it separates the gray. It's just, Saturn is a very complex planet that I think needs a lot of appreciation. It's a great planet, and Saturn Rising was really cool. There's some parts where I'm kind of like, we get it, dude. You smoke cigarettes and you're trying to justify it, but other than those few parts in the book, it's a great book. My number 3 is Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? The first couple of pages, I'm not gonna lie, kind of bored me, and I have Blade Runner in my mind already because I've seen the movie. But the book was really good, especially the last third of it. It was heartbreaking too, and you in a way stop rooting for the main character because he's not supposed to be a good person. I don't think there's any good or bad. Like, you could think he's good, but I don't get rid of the words good and bad. I like complicated, like where you don't know if you should really root on the main character or not. I like those kind of books because they make you think. And number 2 is 36 Faces with the Deacons. This was a different type of astrology book. It wasn't cookbook, but yet it could be interpreted as that, I guess, but not really. He gives you just the understandings of each deacon. I got a greater understanding out of my chart, out of other people's charts because of it. I feel like it could help with planetary magic. Great, amazing book. It's hard to get, it's hard to find. Hope your library has it. I love it. It's a great, amazing book. And my number one, 2001 Space Odyssey by Arthur Clarke. You can see how he has some understanding of astrology. I don't know if he believed it, but I think he respected it, especially Vedic astrology. Because the guy who created Hal, his name pretty much means Aquarius. Well, the spaceship is going to Saturn. So I think it's cool that the creator of the AI computer is named after Aquarius, and yet they're going to Saturn. And I want to try, I think I might reread this again next year. Saturn. And he picked the moon. I don't know. I want to understand his reasoning more for a lot of things. And I think a lot of it's based off of astrology, maybe some Hinduism. I think he had a pretty good understanding of Vedic astrology. So yeah, my number one, 2001 A Space Odyssey. Love this book. Absolutely loved it. Book I would not recommend, The Astrological Neptune, A Quest for Redemption by Liz Green. I just did not like that book at all. I think it was one of the worst books I've read. It was heavily biased. There's just some instances where it's just like, oh, this is weird. Like, why even talk about this? Like, you have a chip on your shoulder, or like you have like anger at people who just like ask for accommodations and like are asking to be empathized with. So I kind of didn't care for that and it surprised me about her in this book. And it surprised me because her Saturn book was so great, so I was kind of shocked she made such a terrible Neptune book. Yeah, that's the book I would not recommend to anyone. My reading goal of 2024 is going to be significantly less than this year. I was kind of stressed out with how much I had to read. I enjoyed it still, but it was just like an unnecessary pressure, an obligation I put on myself. Kind of felt like college. In 2024, my reading goal is going to be 36 books because I have some big books I want to kind of work on. Like, I have a astrophysics book I want to read, and I know that's going to take up a big chunk of my time. I want to read all the Chronicles of Narnia because I know each book represents each of the ancient planets. The Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe is supposed to be the sun. The Witch is supposed to be winter solstice. And then with Aslan dying, it's supposed to be the sun. And I know people say, like, no, it's Christian. But it's true, it could have some Christian stuff in it. But C.S. Lewis was really into medieval astrology. A lot of Christianity is allegorical astronomy, which people don't like to hear, but it's a truth. C.S. Lewis definitely in all 7 of his books explores each planet, and each book is supposed to have the tone of that planet. The Last Battle, I think it's what it's called, is supposed to be like Saturn because it's the last book. So I think it's really cool that he did that. I plan on also finishing the Space Odyssey trilogy. That's pretty much it. That's my 2003 reading list. Those were the books that I read. I did finish my reading challenge and goal this year, so I'm really happy about that. I will probably discuss some of the books in greater detail that I read this year. Thank you for watching. If you could subscribe, share the video, put on the little ring-a-ding-ding bell notification. That's the word, notification. Just put on the ring-a-ding-ding button. Don't comment. I'm gonna have comments turned off. So yeah, I am grateful that you watched this and watch some other videos of mine. And I hope you have a great day. I hope you finished all of y'all reading challenges, and if you didn't, it's okay. At least you got reading. At least you got, you got reading. You got to read, and you were able to have some alone time to enjoy the quietness and the beauty of books. That's a crappy out saying. It was so long.